Welcome to SMAC, home of the SMAC. May I take your order?
Hello there, and welcome to an all-new episode of Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and much, much more. I am your host, Josh Scar, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm nervous, man. I am sitting over here. I have a live ticker up. Every time a ticket that is for Avatar is sold, I get the how many and the purchase price and the studio price. So I am just breathing deep, hoping this box office return is enough to take out that bastard Justin.
I don't know if that's gonna happen. It's gonna come down to The Wire, the movie Wire.
Oh, with your host Justin Henson?
Yeah. I think I'm glad I forgot to sign the contract that allowed him to take over Talking Smack if he won this fantasy draft. But when you're talking about a ticker, I thought you were talking about having a countdown, because this episode comes out on New Year's Eve. Happy New Year to everyone listening. Hopefully 2026 is a year where things go better for people like us and not people like Lonnie and the Cheeto Man. We want them to have bad 2026s, please.
Hey man, I am just excited because when that ball starts to lower, the cats just surround it, and our tails are up, and we're waiting to pounce. It's might as well be a Jellicle ball.
Jellicle cats do Jellicle things.
Exactly.
That's the only thing I know about cats. Yeah, so I don't know, Alex. How was your holiday? We are wrapping up the holiday season as well. So how was your holiday?
Pretty good. It was just a quiet one. Next day, went over to a friend's house to do a little bit of friends celebration thing. He played some board games, gave gifts to their kids because that's what we do. And it was a good time. It was just nice and quiet. It never seems to work out for us at like either weather or just family plans, because our families are spread out multiple hours away. We just kind of never align. So it was just always just end up chilling at home, giving gifts to our cats. But no, we just, celebrate with our cats. How was yours?
It was good. A few hiccups here and there, but I have young kids, so there's always going to be a thing where someone gets disappointed in something. But it was better than previous years. I'll say that. I mean, in general, yeah, because my mom, one year she gave me cereal for Christmas because she doesn't know how to shop for me. So this year I got socks and underwear, and the underwear is too small for me. So, I mean, she's getting better, I guess.
Wait, okay, so just to confirm, your mom bought you cereal for you as an adult?
Cocoa Puffs, yes. This was maybe 2018, 2019.
Just a box of cereal?
It's just a box of Cocoa Puffs.
Was it wrapped?
Yes.
Okay. That makes it even better. And you know what? She gave you the gift of underwear. Did they have like Captain America's shield on them or something?
They were Superman and Justice League themed. But again, I can't wear them because they don't fit over my large rear end. My mom
awesome.
looks at me in a different light than reality, I guess. She thinks I'm smaller than I actually am.
You're still her little boy.
Ain't that the tooth?
She's going to get a little bath towel, wrap it around you, and say, it's a cape. Go fly.
I'm sure she would if she could, or she remembered to. But that's neither here nor there. My mom's funny in some of the best ways sometimes. But we are going to talk about a couple of women who I wish were my mom or my aunt or related to me in any way. And that's Karen and Ann over at the Sugar Coated Murder podcast. We're going to hear from them. And when we come back, we're going to hand out some awards. We'll be right back.
Hey, Ann Barner.
Hey, Karen Beatty.
We need a promo. Like where we talk about what we do on our podcast.
On our Sugar Coated Murder podcast? Like how we love to bake and talk about murder?
That's what we need to talk about.
There you go.
I think we've talked about it. Y'all find us on all your favorite listening apps.
Stay sweet.
And don't murder.
Because if you kill people,
we will talk about you.
You don't want them talking about you unless you're on the podcast with them. Otherwise, things are not great for you, I'm betting. Definitely tune into Sugar Coated Murder. They've got 2 books out as well. Definitely check those out as well. And Alex, we are here to present the 2026 SMACademy Awards. I know it's not technically 2026 as of the episode release date, but it's not our fault that New Year's Eve lined up with our usual release timeline for these episodes. We're going to go kind of in reverse Academy order, where we're going to start with like Best Picture, Best Animated. Then we're going to go down the line and just kind of talk about a few other things. And we're going to end with a couple of Talking Smack exclusive awards, which those would be, that was this year, biggest disappointment, and our favorite Talking Smack episodes of the year. So those will be our final few categories, but we're going to start with our best movie of the year, best movie of 2025. Our nominees are K-Pop Demon Hunters, Avatar Fire and Ash, Predator, Killer of Killers, Rental Family, and Weapons. I don't know if you've seen Weapons, but I know a lot of people have, and they really enjoy it. So I haven't, obviously, as I don't watch scary movies. But I also have not seen Rental Family, but I know that's a movie that I will see as soon as I am able. And I feel like that's going to be my new About Time, where it's just this hopeless, sentimental, beautiful movie that makes you feel good. And it has Brendan Fraser in it. So like it's in the category no matter what.
Yes, Rental Family, unfortunately, as we do not live in a large metropolis and we are screwed daily by AMC's offerings, the only way that I would have been able to see this, I would have to drive into Chicago 2 hours to see like a 90-minute movie. And that's just not within the realm of possibility at the moment. But everyone that I've heard talk about Rental Family, I have just prepared myself to cry. And I'm okay with that. Now, Josh, I know you don't watch horror movies. I have been on a binge lately. For some reason, this time of year, like preparing for the holiday, I liked watching like The Thing. That's technically a Christmas movie. Krampus, Violent Night, Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation, things like that. But I always start pivoting towards horror movies once like winter has started to set in. And so I watched Weapons. It is terrifying. It is funny. It is well made and creepy. If you had told me that this movie is being made by one of the people from The Whitest Kids You Know TV series, like the Comedy Central sketch series from like 15 years ago, I would have been like, no. The people who did I think it was called Miss March, who they had the timely joke of a rapper named HorseDick.mpeg. You know? Like, you can't be serious. And this person did Barbarians and Weapons. It has one of the most satisfying conclusions of a horror movie because you were just hoping. There's no like Freddy or Jason or Terrifier where you're kind of rooting for the villain. You are not rooting for the villain here at all. Or like Saw. You are rooting against the villain, and it has such a satisfying ending. Yeah, Weapons is definitely my horror movie of the year.
Well, as I have not seen Rental Family, but I know I probably will very much enjoy it. Our nominees, kind of in a roundabout way, more or less, are K-Pop Demon Hunters, Avatar Fire and Ash, Predator, Killer of Killers, and Weapons. I got to give it to K-Pop Demon Hunters. That's a movie that I have not grown tired of watching, and for me, that makes it a best movie ever.
Jim, I will get back to you with like an apology later, but I'm going with K-Pop Demon Hunters because I love Avatar Fire and Ash. I plan on seeing it 2 more times just because I have a friend who finally wants to go see it with me. And I want it, like I said, I want to try it in the non-3D format, as I said on the previous podcast. But K-Pop Demon Hunters, anytime I see like a teaser for it or it gets mentioned for award ceremony, I do a little jig to myself and I still enjoy it. The songs are still catchy. They haven't worn out for me yet. Like, you know, even though I hear them on the radio all the time because yes, I get in a car. I don't know why I don't put on Spotify or Apple Music or something. I click on the radio. I still hear it and it's good. It is light. It is fun. When they announced, you know, a sequel for it, I got excited. When they announced the live action adaptation, I got meh.
Yeah, that's such a fast turnaround for that announcement too. Of like, we're talking about doing a live action adaptation. Why the fuck are you? Seriously, this literally came out this year, and you're going to be like, in like 3 or 4 years, we'll have a live action adaptation. No, stop.
Yeah, but they're gonna, but for now, nothing has been sullied. It is just adorable. I love it. Definitely worthy
The only thing in terms of like the real world award season that really makes me mad about this movie is that Netflix just kind of like banked on Golden being the song. Like, yeah, it's the most played song on Spotify and everything. You have so many songs in that soundtrack that can be nominated. And I don't understand why they're like, we don't have the money to push all of these for best original song. We're only going to do one. But then we're going to go buy Warner Brothers as well. You can pay an extra $10,000, $20,000, however much it is to nominate something in the Academy to have more opportunities to win. Because yes, Golden is a fantastic song. I don't think it's the best song in the movie. I think that is what it sounds like. But if you're talking about like as an individual single, I think you have Golden, Soda Pop, How It's Done. Those three alone, again, as individual songs, stand on their own. And you can nominate any of them. And you can nominate any of the songs from that movie, and they would probably still be a front runner. So like that's my biggest complaint about where we're going with this holiday or award season is the fact that EJ, Ray Ami, and Audrey Nuna all going out there singing different songs together, but instead they're all just singing Golden in like one live adaptation that they've created where they're harmonizing really well. But like you would think as artists they would want to do more than just one song. They're not a one-hit wonder. Let them do more.
I mean, I would really like it if like Takedown was done more, or Soda Pop, because
they were banking on Takedown. Like when they advertised with the trailer, they said Takedown by Twice was the advertised group and original song that they were promoting as this movie was getting ready to release. And then Takedown just kind of got pushed aside by Golden, How It's Done, What It Sounds Like, Soda Pop, Your Idol. Like Takedown is almost kind of like the weakest song of the bunch.
I don't know why they're doing that, unfortunately, but at least in our hearts, the entire movie is worthy of an award. We do need to say, so AJ, Audrey Nuna, and Ray Amai, if you would like to let us know your mailing address, we'll send you an award. We only send awards to people who give us their mailing address.
We might be able to get Gary on the line to give us some kind of PO box or something. So moving into best animated feature, I think if it won best feature, I think we know what's going to win best animated, but we have nominees being K-pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2, Chainsaw Man, The Raze Arc, and Predator Killer of Killers. And again, I got to go K-pop Demon Hunters, but like there is some competition between at least Chainsaw Man, but it's not quite there. Chainsaw Man was really good, and the action sequence at the end was fantastic, but it was still missing something that K-pop Demon Hunters just satisfies the whole way through.
I agree. It is a double win for K-pop Demon Hunters. Zootopia just didn't do it for me. Chainsaw Man, I still haven't seen, unfortunately. And Predator,
I believe
Killer
it's on
Killers.
Crunchyroll now.
Oh, crud. Okay, well, I can cue that up as soon as we're done recording. And Predator Killers is great. We have had now 3 really good Predator films in a row. It just can't beat K-pop.
No, especially when you consider, I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters is borrowing from the Spider-Verse engine, and then Predator Killer of Killers is borrowing even more so as their off-brand version of that engine. I just keep forgetting that it was a movie. Like I remember the trailers thinking it was going to be like a 3 to 5 part TV series, and they just made it a whole ass movie. And I just keep forgetting about that.
I don't forget about it. It's more like I lump it into something, especially when you go have a franchise where you're going like theatrical releases, which Prey should have been, but pandemic. And then you have something like Predator Killer of Killers. It partially tarnishes it going from like when you go from like a live action to an animation to then like a few months later you're back into live action. I think it kind of like just sours a little bit where you're like, oh yeah, that's like an also run thing, even though the director has really hard leaned into, oh, you're gonna see these people later, I have a plan. But I mean, it's still great, but can't touch K-pop.
All right, our next category is best TV/streaming show. We have quite a few on this one. We have Solo Leveling, My Dress Up Darling Season 2, Severance Season 2, Pluribus Season 1, Andor Season 2, The Pit, It, Welcome to Derry, Ghosts Season 4, 5? 5. And then I have Freerun Beyond Journey's End on here because I watched it this year, but it's technically a 2023-2024 show, and Season 2 starts in a couple of weeks. I'm just giving that an honorable mention because I think the best show kind of has to go to Andor, but I would like to hear your arguments towards anything if it's not Andor.
Solo Leveling is amazing. It is one of the few anime where my wife started watching it and I kind of walked in going, what is this? This is outside your normal realm. Finished watching season 2 with her, restarted to watch season 1, watched season 1 and 2, just blew through them again. And then I think I've rewatched it now like 1 or 2 more times. There's just something satisfying about the mystery. And each time you rewatch it, the mystery starts to make a little more sense and things start to click into place for the foreshadowing and illusions. The world is very fascinating and feels lived in. And what I like more than anything is that the hero never feels too overpowered. Yes, it is a thing where he defeats and he levels up and then he fights harder things, but he has to work on his smarts every time. And some of his wins are only because he's starting to understand the limitations of the powers and the skill sets that he's working within, where he has to use those to his advantage because he can't win with brute force or he can't win with his magic. And I never feel like I'm watching something where it's like, okay, all right, Batman has beat up this person and now he's suddenly stronger, or like, oh, Spider-Man develops a new power and that's the only way he can get out of it. Or like a beat up Worf situation. I absolutely love Solo Leveling. Now, I love The Pit as well. And The Pit is coming back and it has informed HBO that's right. Having a seasonal model where you release things once a year and week to week and you have like 13 to 20 episodes and you don't wait 12 years between releases allows hype to continue and people can talk about your show. Ghost I'm mentioning because they've been just been on fire this year, man.
I've been catching up, and yeah, like it's another really strong start to the season. I have no real complaints about any of them. The lady that I can't remember the lady's name, but the lady who plays Sam just continues to showcase that she is a much more talented actor than the sitcom format would usually allow, because there's another possession episode where she gets to put on a performance of being a different character as she's been possessed by a ghost. And it's just really great. Like the storylines, if we're talking like funniest show, Ghosts takes it for me.
Oh, yeah.
I hear what you're saying about Solo Leveling, but I do kind of have a counter argument where it does always feel like the resolution to most of the fights is just Genu gets really mad and he decides that now I'm going to win. And he just yells and wins. Like
I can see that.
There's not a lot. Like I don't disagree that he thinks about things and he lays out the things that the viewer needs to understand while he's like assessing, but it doesn't ever, like, I never really feel like he's in danger. It's always more just like, what's going to be the twist on this fight that allows him to change. And I think by the end of season 2 with his necromancy, it's really just, he's just standing around doing nothing while his shadow army does all the heavy lifting at this point. I don't remember the end of season 2 very well. I know they finally took back that island that was a big point for most of season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I am more interested in the mystery of everything. Like we have that reveal at the end of season 2. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but there's a lot of intrigue in everything going on around Genu. But when it's more focused on Genu, I'm less interested at this point, because after season 1, it really just becomes more of him just kind of grinding and getting more powerful. And it's obviously setting up towards something, but at least for season 2, I was less interested in Genu and more about like everything happening around him, especially with that other hunter that's another S tier that's like every hunter stinks except for Genu. Like literally,
Yeah,
like
I really
literally
liked
like
it.
makes her sick. because of how badly they stink. And then all of a sudden Gino shows up and she's like, oh, he smells like Old Spice.
No, I can agree that season 2 does take a little bit more of a backseat, where Gino is more allowing himself to level up passively because of his Shadow Army. But I think it does a great job of building up the complications of the world around him as he's trying to mask being an S tier. The resolution for season 2, I think, is just great. But I understand what you're saying, and I think I'm a little leaning hard into it because I watched both seasons this year.
Oh, same, yeah. I enjoyed watching it. I watched season 1 with Ricky as well. She wasn't as engaged with it because she needs more romance in her shows. So that's something. But
did she watch perhaps season 2 of My Dress Up Darling?
Oh yeah, we watched that together. We watched that whole way through, which I should have put on here. Spy Family season 3 as well. That's something that should have been on here. I don't think it's gonna win, but there are some really good episodes in that so far as well. But you know what? I think you swayed me, and let's give it to The Pit.
Okay.
I love Andor season 2. Like, I think my biggest problem with Andor season 2 is that it is a little narratively uneven. Like, it does feel a lot like every character has kind of reached their apex of where they need to be before Rogue One. And so it's really just setting more up of, like, here's where we build towards taking down the Empire, and just setting up the board for Rogue One and A New Hope. So like my biggest problem with Andor season 2 is just the character progression just wasn't quite there for me. And then the weird added on ending of Bix having a child with Andor, and so like Cassian's legacy lives on, and the child gets to have no daddy for the rest of his life because it's a false positive ending.
I would want to argue kind of a little bit hard for It Welcome to Derry because I was so surprised by it. But the more I think about It Welcome to Derry, the more I realized I had talked myself out of wanting to award it something, because I'm so cheering for Pennywise because everybody in Derry, because it's a Stephen King property, is a horrible human being. Well, not everybody, but basically everybody is a horrible human being, that I'm actively rooting for Pennywise to just start getting rid of people. And I think they do a good job with the exploration of Derry and how they're going backwards in time, to build up Pennywise's history and the town's history of why Derry is the way it is a lot better. But I really was not solidly on board with the show until Bill Skarsgård showed back up to be Pennywise. They were exploring some of his other forms because it's a shapeshifter. But once Bill showed up midway through the season, I was like, thank goodness this dude revels in being Pennywise. So I will take the win that The Pit is going to get Best Streaming Show. And Rose McIver, our lovely Sam, and I'm surprised you didn't remember her name because she was the Yellow Ranger in Power Rangers RPM.
Was she really? I know she was also in iZombie.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Well, I never watched RPM.
She was Summer Lansdowne, the Yellow Ranger.
Fun. I'll have to try and look that up. So let's move on to Best Video Game. We have 3 nominees. We have Expedition 33, our winner, Split Fiction, and you added in Vampire Survivors as one that I have not played, but I know you and I have both played Expedition 33 and Split Fiction. So what's your pitch for Vampire Survivors being on this list?
Vampire Survivors kind of revolutionized 2 or 3 years ago. It's called like Bullet Hell, where it's just you have a character and they're constantly firing and you level up their powers. It was like a $2.99 game that this solo developer put in, and it kind of just exploded. And now there's a bunch more of them that are floating around out there, like Conquest Dark, and there's just so many. But the reason why I like it is the developer emphasizes fun over balance. He has said, this is a solo game. If you find broken builds that allow you to like clear maps quickly, I don't care. Are you having fun? Good. And he continues to release free updates. Every few months or so gets another free update. And then this year has released his crossover with like Castlevania, which is the style he was kind of amping with his like texture style and some of the powers. And so the Castlevania add-on is an official one, and it was priced at the ungodly amount of $2.99. So he just knows, he's like, listen, I make a cheap game. You guys are buying hundreds of thousands of copies of it. I'm doing fine. I'm going to continue to update it. I'll do expansions. I'll do some crossovers, but I'm not going to nickel and dime you. I think if you buy every like paid expansion at this moment right now, it would cost you $8.
That's not bad.
And I have sunk like 60 hours into it. Now, do I think it's actually the best game of this year? Hell no. It's Expedition 33, and you and I both know that.
Yeah, it's hard to combat anything with Expedition 33. Like, I really hate the idea that everyone just assumes Grand Theft Auto 6 is a lock for Game of the Year, and if that actually released this year, Expedition 33 would have just been pushed aside. Like, I'm not a big GTA fan. I've never been one to... It's never gripped me the way it has other people. And I know it's expanded beyond like what GTA 3 was, where it was mostly just like, hey, you can go bang hookers in the car and then you can just go do domestic terrorist stuff. It's obviously evolved beyond that, where there's like legitimate stories since GTA 4 and 5.
Oh yeah. But I have played the main line versions. I haven't like played like the PSP, like there's like a PSP version and like some other, maybe like it's called like Grand Theft Auto London or something like that. I don't know if that was actually properly released, but I played 1,
I think
2,
that was
3,
a DS
San Andreas.
game or a PSP game or something.
4, I didn't get. 5 came out 13 years ago now. I tried Grand Theft Auto Online for a little bit, but that's just obviously them trying to milk it because they didn't want to release DLC. I think they kind of lost the script a little bit by going so story heavy. Like I hated one of the main antagonists of 5, well, protagonists or whatever. 4 was just so dour that I fell in love with the Saints Row games because they were Grand Theft Auto clones. And then
they just became a parody of Grand Theft Auto. They like embraced the eccentricism of the domestic terrorist concept.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They had a storyline for I think Saints Row 4 where
you go into the Matrix.
Blown up. Yeah, the world gets blown up. You enter the Matrix, and then you have to go to hell to reboot the world. Yeah, and that's what I think the fun should be. Like once I finished Grand Theft Auto 5, I started doing the thing that I always do, which is, as you said, domestic terrorism. And it's just the world's so realistic. I'm just bored with it. I'm like, I want to just steal cars, run over people, and get to 5 stars so the military comes after me. I don't want to wait for trains and people dive out of the way, and then a car's aggressively attack me back, and then then you wait for multiple levels of SWAT team before they bring out a plane to attack you. I don't want any of that. And I'm not that excited about 6 because it's been in 2-3 generations of consoles now for this.
I think it was a 360. No, it was an Xbox One release. So it's been 1 generation. It's Xbox One, PS4.
Okay, and then Brown Fire, yeah. But seriously, it's like in 13 years. I don't have hype for it. Like when the 5 came out, one of the biggest features they sold was flip-flops actually flip on your feet now. They're not just stuck. And I'm like, okay, so in the new one, are you gonna have to like shave your legs and your beard every day?
That was another thing they added in that I just didn't understand, was like they added in that eating mechanic where like your character will get hungry and you need to eat. Like why? Yeah. Why? That's not what I play video games for.
No. So I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in a strong, cohesive story with a vision. No, I don't want an everything simulator. And Expedition 33 surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah,
with everything.
That was a game that I didn't know that I'd even go back to. If you go back and listen to our episode about that game with Dan from Casting Views, Gaming Views, I literally stepped away from that game for like 2 or 3 weeks because the opening was so depressing. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And then I like got time to play it, and I understood the combat system, and I just fell in love with the way the game played, and to the point where I'm in the middle of playthrough number 3 right now, and it's just
nice.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm burning through it because I don't want to be that depressed when I'm playing. I just want to get into the gameplay, but the battle system is just phenomenal, and it's intuitive. I've recommended it to a handful of people, and every single person is like, "You've ruined my life. I can't stop thinking about this game."
Yeah, I did my 1 playthrough, and because I chose the it was good for me ending, but it was terrible for everybody ending. And I've been waiting to try one of the other endings. And another reason to celebrate and why this game is amazing is the developers care about you, because they release a massive free expansion to make the game even more replayable. They released it like a week or two ago, and
yeah, it was the day after the Game Awards.
Yeah, and they could have done, which is what most like big wig studios would do, which is they'd announce it out now for $9.99, $14.99. We have our DLC, more replayable, new game plus, all this stuff. Give us more money. And so they said, no, this is a thank you. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for making this game. Thank you for making this game popular. Thank you for believing in us.
Yeah, it's just got an amazing cast of characters, an amazing cast. Like I was already aware that like Charlie Cox is in the game. And then I didn't realize until the credits rolled that Andy Serkis is in the game as well. And I was like, oh, that's why that character sounded so familiar. But it's a game that has literally stuck with me. And it's a game that, as depressing as it can be in the story, I will probably go back and play this annually as long as I have my physical copy and whatever generation system will play it.
Dang right.
All right, we're moving on to favorite comic. Have you read many comics this year, Alex?
No. Every time you guys tell me I should, I'm like, oh my God, why is there's a backlog? What episode do I start? Issue do I start in? Do I start at issue 20? Is it issue 45 when they switch writers? So no, I have right now, Something's Killing Children. And whenever those little collections drop, which is every 6 to 9 months, I buy that. I'm waiting for a comic that is actually going to capture me, that I will say this is when I definitively start. Because that's another problem I have. I don't know when to definitively start and definitively stop a comic. Like, I started reading the Harley Quinn one because Amanda Connor is amazing. But then she left writing it and I didn't realize it, and I was still buying copies. I'm like, why is Harley Quinn not as fun? And oh God. I also have a thing where I hate when they switch artists. Because even if it's the same writer, but the artist switch, it makes me believe it's somebody else.
I had the same issue with the original run of Ultimate Spider-Man when Mark Bagley left and a new artist came in. Like, Mark Bagley's art for Ultimate Spider-Man was just phenomenal. And then they got a new artist and the art was just ugly in comparison. And I couldn't read it anymore because looking at it was just, it hurt after looking at Mark Bagley for so many years. But our nominees are TMNT / Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 3, or 3. It's the third team up comic, which I would strongly recommend to anyone who wants to feel like they're watching a Saturday morning cartoon. Absolute Batman, pretty much any of the Absolute DC comics right now. It's just, what if Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman were super big, even more big than they usually are, and more extreme. Like, Batman's bat symbol is an axe that he can convert. So it's
badass.
It's crazy. And his Batmobile is a giant dumpster or garbage truck. Wonder Woman's got a giant Final Fantasy VII style sword. Yeah, it's just the Absolute universe is just heavy metal as fuck. Like, it's just ridiculous. Ultimate Spider-Man, that's another one that's been going for a couple of years now, and it's going to be ending, I think, in 2026. But that's one that's really, really good as well. And then, as always, I recommend all of the Massive Verse stuff. Infernal Girl Red Book 2 just dropped. They've been doing individual collections. I think they'll be doing a 3-part collection of individual comics at that point, sometime in the near future, if they aren't already. Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, anything in the Massive Verse, I would recommend it to anyone who grew up enjoying Power Rangers or was like interested in Power Rangers, but now you're a mid-30s, early 40s person and you don't know what to look for in Power Rangers. Radiant Black, the Massive Verse stuff is where you would go. For me, my favorite comic this year, though, is the Saturday morning cartoon fun, and that would be TMNT Power Rangers 3.
Nice.
It hasn't concluded yet, but that's where I would go with my favorite comic of the year.
Can't fault that. That's just fun.
I would also recommend the individual TMNT comic that's being written currently by Jason Aaron, who did the Thor to Mighty Thor run. So like the Jane Foster Thor run. Minor spoilers for that collection right now, but Splinter has taken on a superhero alter ego and it is pretty intense and awesome. So I'd recommend that as well. But Ryan Parrott, that's the name I was thinking of, for the writer of TMNT MMPR3. He also writes Rogue Sun and the Massiverse. That's my winner for best comic, and let's move on. So our favorite live action movie character, we have nominated Superman, Bucky from Thunderbolts, and a little bit of Captain America: Brave New World, and Bob / the Sentry / the Void. And I'm surprised you didn't put down our Lord and Savior Ethan Hunt.
It's because he's real.
Fair.
A real Oscar winner, by the way, everybody. We can now declare
an honorary Oscar winner. He's not a real Oscar.
It's a real
winner.
Oscar.
He gets a real Oscar for doing stuff that didn't require a nomination.
He was nominated by his peers for doing a great job keeping cinema alive.
Allegedly. I think this is a wide open category. I think I got to give it to Bob either way.
I liked Superman. I'm still not impressed by the plot. And for some reason that takes it a little away from me. But I will say he's a great Superman. And every time I rewatch Twisters where he's the asshole guy in there, I look at my wife and I go, by the way, that's Superman.
I mean, the performance of Superman, I think it's there, but his big speech at the end is very James Gunnified. And like they released a whole sequence about that where David Cornsweet was even arguing with James Gunn about like, why am I mad? Why am I yelling? I'm Superman. Shouldn't I be like, I'm human, Lex? Shouldn't he be more invested in like trying to portray something where James Gunn's like, no, you're angry. He's an asshole and you get to be a little bit of an asshole right now because I can only write for assholes. This is what we're doing. And like, there's a weird actor-director dynamic that's going on, and James Gunn wins the argument, but he finally gets Cornsweet to understand the motivation at least. And like I think it's delivered in what I believe James Gunn wanted or how James Gunn wanted, but I don't believe it's delivered in a Superman way. And I think that that point hurts my perception of like my favorite live action movie character this year, which again I think goes to Bob, because Lewis Pullman just has a full spectrum of emotion and range that he pulls from in this movie. And it's the linchpin of Thunderbolts, which we talked about it when we did the review. The biggest thing that hurt that movie is that it's a Marvel movie. If this was an independent film about a ragtag group of mercenaries that come together and all of a sudden they have to fight a Superman, and the way that movie plays out, it's an amazing movie. But because it's a Marvel movie and people need it to build up to something, it hurts it a little bit. But Lewis Pullman, he hits everything out of the park with what he's doing. His little face twitches, his line deliveries, the way he's manipulated, and the way he just falls into his depression. It's all there and it's all on point. So my nomination or my vote goes to Bob for best or favorite live action character.
At this point, anytime that Bucky is going to be on screen, I'm going to be happy. I just keep waiting for Marvel to realize what they have with him. But it just bothers me that they don't seem to realize that he is carrying a continuity through these films and TV shows that Marvel doesn't seem that interested in, because I can almost guarantee you that when we get to when Doomsday drops, Cap, who's is back, and for some reason his emotional arc is probably going to be protecting Bucky again. Because as much as we talk about like Marvel's Spider-Man is, and he learns to become Spider-Man, since Winter Soldier, Captain America's arc has been, and he protects Bucky. Protects him in Winter Soldier, Civil War. One would argue that Avengers Endgame is about bringing Bucky back. So I just enjoy him on the screen, and I enjoy that he is trying, and you can tell he's like now taking this role as trying to be like, 175-year-old senator with this group of people who are just, what is wrong with you guys? But the reason why I like that is because I like Bob. So I'm going to have to give it to Bob, because Bob, Lewis Pullman, bless his heart, the moment he appeared on screen, something about his chemistry with the new Black Widow,
Florence Pugh.
Yeah, Florence Pugh, whose name I keep forgetting now. Yelena, thank you. I want to say Helena, but I know it's wrong. Their chemistry worked as not necessarily two romantic people. They could become romantic, who knows? But two people who are broken and see that within each other. And I think that works. And them tricking us that Bucky's supposed to be the lead and ends up being Yelena is softened by the strength of her tie to Bob and why she wants to do it. And I think that works. And so you're right. I think we're going to have to go with Bob.
Yeah, I wanted to put Yelena on this list, but they took away so much of her fun factor in this movie that it was really hard for me to really bring Florence Pugh into this one, because like it's a fine performance, but it's very much I am depressed and I'm looking for something that I don't know what it is. And it's just that until the very end of the movie when they resolve the void issue. And
yeah,
I didn't feel anything for the performance more than I did with the void and Bob. So that's why I nominated Bob, and Bob wins our favorite live action movie character of the year. Favorite video game character of the year. We have Mael from Expedition 33. We have Eskie from Expedition 33, our favorite wine dispensary. We have Lune from Expedition 33, Gustav from Expedition 33, and then you have King Arthur from the Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon. So please explain why King Arthur is getting nominated in all these Expedition 33s.
So Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon is from a board game franchise that is called Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Surprise. They have decided to basically start a video game studio while still releasing board games. And as one of the backers, I got a free copy of the game and I decided to play it. And it's a bit rough because you can tell, they're a first time studio. The first version of this game was basically the card game of the board game, but now they're trying to flesh it out to be a full RPG experience because there's so much story in the board game about the fall of Avalon and King Arthur and like what happened after he died and then this resurrection that they was like, listen, we can do a full RPG. And it's fun. It's a fun RPG. I'm working my way through it. I enjoy it. It is a bit rough. But what's selling me is the story, because what happens is you, as most RPGs, start off like kind of like a bad, like a prisoner wrongly convicted in a jail cell, and you break your way out. But then you end up running into the section of the underground where you encounter this altar to King Arthur. And you get chosen to kind of merge with him so he can restore Avalon. And the reason why King Arthur is the voice actor is amazing. And the entire time you are questioning why Avalon really fell. Because a lot of what people tell you about Arthur's story and legend, but what he's kind of revealing as using you as an avatar for his resurrection to restore the kingdom has you second guessing yourself the entire time as to whether or not King Arthur was a good guy or not. And just how tainted is his soul now that it's being brought back. And I really enjoyed that. Because it's just this person just kind of riding along the journey with you, and you're questioning their motives that you're bound to. So I dug that. That being said, it's Malene because Malene is awesome.
Mael.
Sorry, Mael. Yes, thank you. I love Mael.
Yeah, Mael gets the win because
she's my bae.
Yeah, she is just phenomenal, and I think it's Jennifer English is the performer who does the voice for Mael. If it's Expedition 33, it's winning, and yeah, Mael is the winner of this year's Character of the Year. Just a wonderfully tragic character, no matter what ending you take, and it's as you unravel the game, it just becomes more and more apparent of like how broken and beautiful she is in her own way. Like not even just like physically beautiful, just like from her storyline perspective, just heartbreakingly beautiful. And it's absolutely delightful in the most French way possible.
Listen, I was just trying to make her happy, okay?
I understand. That was my first ending too, and I had to go back and immediately figure out what the good ending actually was. And either ending is more or less a false positive, but I think Mael's ending is probably the dark ending, and it makes me all the more sad because all my friends are now in some kind of hellish purgatory.
But at least she's happy.
At least she's happy.
She?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Favorite live action TV character. We have Cassian Andor, Clea Markey from Andor, and Wendy from Alien Earth. Did you want to add Noah Wyle from The Pit on here?
No, because if it's going to be anyone from The Pit, okay, listen, I love Noah Wyle. I've been following his career since ER. He is great in The Librarians. Love that show. He had that TV show where he was like the leader of a resistance against an alien invasion that Spielberg produced. He did like 3 seasons of that. He is my Steve Jobs because he did a great Steve Jobs, Bill Gates TV movie back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But if I'm going to be anyone, it is going to be Fiona Dorff from The Pit, whose character on that is Cassie McKay. She is a mother who is wearing an ankle bracelet because she and her ex are having a really bad spat over who's going to take care of their kid. And her crankiness while being an older, she's because she didn't become a doctor till like 4 years ago, and she's like so in her late 30s, early 40s. And so she is trying to deal with these 20-somethings as somebody who, if she goes too far away from like the ER section of the hospital, her ankle monitor goes off and police show. Is a great storyline from there. But when I saw who you put in for your recommendations, I find it hard to argue against Cassian.
So I'm surprised you went Cassian because, like I said earlier, I feel like Cassian has reached his apex in season 2. I was going to vote for Clea, played by Elizabeth Dulau. Not only is this her debut show, or debut anything in Hollywood, the final 2 or 3 episodes of Andor season 2 are all about her. And I think Clea is a bigger character in Andor season 2 than Cassian even is. But the performance she puts in those final few episodes when she has to break into the hospital, do the things she needs to do there, and when she's rescued by Cassian at the end, I think that is a standout performance that deserves recognition. So my vote goes to Clea / Elizabeth Dulau.
I will agree to change my vote to her. If you can agree that is one of the worst wigs I have seen in my life. I do not know what is with that hairdo.
I mean, it's Star Wars. They never have great wigs.
No. It's like every time I saw that, it reminded me of the Bram Stoker's Dracula, when you first see Dracula and he has like the big bleached over, like hiding how like white his hair is, palms going up with like this V crescent thing. And I couldn't unsee it. So it took me a long time to find that may take that character seriously, because I expected secretly to be revealed was being played by Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, through my viewing of Andor season 2, I thought Elizabeth Dulau would have been a really good replacement for a young Leia. Like if they decided to go on to do past episode 6 and do like an original group. You have Sebastian Stan as Luke, you have Elizabeth Dulau as Leia, and whoever you want to bring, Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo coming back, I guess. Like you have 2 out of 3 really good, at least physical replacements for these actors. And she knocks it out of the park, like I said, as Clea, but I thought that Elizabeth Dulau also looks a lot like a very young Carrie Fisher. And I think that might have swayed my appreciation for her performance, but I also don't think that me having like a budding nostalgia for the way she looks really affects how good of a performance she puts in as well.
Actually, you sold me on it with the whole trying to recreate like a true episode 7. I am down with that. So yes, let's give it to her.
All right, so this is your category. You added this one in. I have not watched any documentaries this year, so feel free to go through this one.
this year I have fallen into.
Just to be clear, I'm going to vote for Selena.
Okay, that's fine. I have fallen into this weird realm of I just start watching documentaries. So we have Selena y los Dinos, which is going to be the 19th Selena documentary. We already had Selena, the movie from the 90s that kickstarted Jennifer Lopez's career about Selena Quintanilla. We have, and then Netflix had 2 seasons of a Selena show like 3 years ago where they covered her life. We have AKA Charlie Sheen. This is Charlie Sheen basically fessing up to be and discussing his career. And it is a warts and all documentary on Netflix about he talks about everything, all his drug use, all his being a jackass. They interview his ex-wives and they talk about what it was like to live with this kind of manic asshole. They interview his drug dealers and his doctors. And you find out his doctors worked with his drug dealers to wean him off of his latest benders and stuff. It is so just refreshingly honest about letting him trash himself and letting other people in his life trash him about how his addiction and how things got to him, and he always thinks that I can control it, and then just how downward spirals it goes. They show so much behind the scenes. Well, not behind the scenes. Well, yes, they show some behind the scenes from like his movies and TV shows, but they show his like home video footage of him just having utter breakdowns of like, and you can see where he's just gone, where he thinks he is like, I'm gonna like destroy everybody because you got me off of the show and all this crap. We have John Candy, I Like Me. This is talking about the late great John Candy, and it's one of those documentaries where it's so nice to genuinely just realize nobody has anything bad to say about this person. They were as good in life as they seemed to be on their movies. They were just kind-hearted people, person, and you start realizing that when he passed away in the 90s, how much of his career and life was tied up on he was the lovable fat guy, and how people used to just in interviewers talk about just how fat he is to his face, and being like, oh, you've lost some weight there. Are you worried you're gonna, I mean, are you sure you have the looks for like a leading man? And it's like, dude.
That was something that I think Roger Ebert or one of Siskel and Ebert, like they really did not care for John Candy very early on in his career, simply because he was a larger dude.
Yeah, you saw the people who didn't like him because he was a larger dude playing these weird roles. And then when he actually came into his own with like John Hughes movies and other movies, and he was the person we know, this lovable, kind of soft-hearted, pained person that we all adore, everybody kind of turned around and began to love him again. But he was also then trying to take care of his weight because he was getting into his 40s, and his dad passed away like in his early 40s. And he was being then told, like, don't lose too much weight. You're really lovable around like 350. You're down to 280. And he died young from a heart attack, just like his dad did. And it was emotional. I cried and just really dug it. Amy Bradley is Missing is a documentary about this woman who was last seen on like a Carnival cruise, and the last 30 years of her family not being able to move on. I mean, yes, the person's missing. There was rumors about like what happened. Did she fall off? Was she trafficked? All this stuff. But it is so heartbreaking to watch the family dynamic of the family hasn't moved on. Like her brother, who was like a teenager, is now like in his 40s, and he hasn't moved on, had kids. His family now, 30 years later, they can't move on because they still wonder what happened in like the hour and a half in the morning where like the dad saw her sleeping on the balcony of the ship, went to sleep, went like, while like going to the bathroom and went back to sleep, fully woke up like an hour and a half later. And then where did she go? And it is distressing, especially when some of these quote unquote eyewitnesses, they're like, oh, I didn't say anything because at that time I was in the military, and if they had known I had like gone off base, I could have gotten in trouble. And these other people were like, well, I think it may have been her, but I couldn't contact anyone at that time. And it's like, it's distressing how much hope and pain is there And it's really good though. Like you feel for these people, but you also start to question like, what would I do? Because my wife and I have taken several cruises. We enjoy it. And what if we were in this situation where, we're going with friends and one disappears or a young family member? And how do we deal with our emotions of like, well, I saw she was on the balcony. Maybe I should have stayed up and not gone back to bed and just saying how she was doing. Maybe she wouldn't have disappeared. Pee-wee as himself is about Pee-wee Herman, also known as Paul
Rubens.
Thank you, Paul Rubens. And this documentary started when he was alive. And he wanted to basically tell the story of how he created Pee-wee and how his life was led. And how he, as a closeted gay man in the 80s and 90s, but also an artistic auteur, how he saw his life. And it is very interesting that it's come out after he's died, because it started that he hid his illness from basically everybody. The only people who really knew were his longtime like housekeeper and his like close relation, like a few close family members. The documentarian who was going to his house, who was interviewing him, who was going through all of his home footage, he basically recorded almost his entire life since he was a teenager. And he didn't know that Paul was sick. But as they got to the point of his career where it was his second incident in his life where he was accused of some stuff, when it got to, because they were chronologically talking about his life, when it got to that point, he like completely shut down, stopped talking to them for over a year and a half, leaving the documentarian to basically be working on it by himself without Paul. And then 2 days before Paul died, he called the documentarian to give his final statement and let him know that he was sick. And you really do get a glimpse into what created Pee-wee Herman, who Paul Rubens was, how he was starting to rebuild his life as a different type of actor after leaving Pee-wee behind before his life went sideways. And it's, as someone who grew up on the Pee-wee Herman show and I've seen Paul Rubens like in Mystery Men and other stuff, it was a really beautiful but sad insight into what this man's life could have been had he been able to be more open with who he was sexually and less targeted when he got in trouble. Because that first one where he he was touching himself in an adult movie theater. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. You definitely shouldn't do that. But it seemed kind of targeted that they went after him, only him, with all the other people in the theater, because he was Pee-wee, and we can get Pee-wee and destroy children's idols. The last one is Implosion, the Titanic sub-disaster. This one is about
funniest movie of the year.
Oh, it's a great movie, man. I love it when they show the graph of like that part of the ocean where it's like where it shows like the death count, and it's like boom, like 1800 and like 1912, and then the little spike 100 years later. This one is a Discovery Channel documentary, and my personal favorite, one of my favorite people, Josh Gates, Expedition Unknown, Destination X, and all that stuff. They released footage that he had because the Titan people tried to get him to go down to the Titanic. And so he flew out there. They were going to film an episode about this kind of like new cool thing, these larger ports to really see stuff. And he called it off because he's like, something's wrong here. I don't trust this person. I see some of the weird not lies, but like the misdirection of how they're talking about their safety protocols. And you see Josh Gates, which is someone I've been watching for 20 years. I've gone to his live show. You see how angry he is because this person was taking children down, not 4 or 5 years old, but the person who died was a child. He was like 18 or 19, just entering college. He died because his dad's like, hey, come with me on this cool thing. It's a father-son thing. And they lost their lives. And it's very interesting to see the behind the scenes stuff of like so many people were trying to raise flags and say something's wrong here. But because submarining is, open waters, kind of outside of like true jurisdictions, how this person navigated around it. and ultimately costs himself and so many people and other people's lives because of the recklessness and the recklessness of I can do anything because I think I'm smart. So, I mean, none of them are like laugh out loud good times. But if I'm going to give it to anything, I'm going to go with Selena because it reminded me how important she was growing up because I grew up in Corpus Christi. And we moved just about a year and a half before she was killed. And it reminded me just how beautiful her music was. She had a short life. She had like 4 actual albums. She was only like 23, and just how important she was to the Hispanic community, the Chicano community, the Tejano community. And she was stolen from us like a month before she would have exploded on the scene with her crossover English album. And it was a beautiful thing because they really didn't linger too much on the whole she was murdered thing. You're just watching this thing and it's like, hey, we're getting close. I'm like, isn't it good? Like, how long is this documentary? Like, are they going to spend like an hour on this next part? Because we've been about 2 hours here, and it's just like, and then she was taken from us. It's like, damn. And they kind of just jumped to like, yeah, we released her album and people still love her. And yeah, it's tragic. It's beautiful. The family, you can tell the family still loves her, but you can tell the family has moved on from this, but there's still regrets because like her younger sister's just like, I'm happy that she married young against dad's wishes because at least she got to experience being a wife and being in love. And many others would have like, oh, I'm only 22. I'm going to like avoid all this stuff because my dad said I'm too young to be married. But he's like, I'm so happy for that. He's like, what hurts me is that we had names for and plans for when we had kids and how we would raise them together. And I didn't get to do that. Yeah, it's beautiful. So yeah, go Selena.
All right, we got 3 categories left for the 2026 SMACademy Awards. We have our Talking Smack categories now. We are in the That Was This Year category, which we have Mickey 17, Split Fiction, our 15-year celebration of Mass Effect 2, episode 183, also featuring the lovely Dan. We have Star Trek Section 31, the Doomsday Cast Chairs. We have the Until Dawn movie, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, Ballerina, a John Wick spinoff movie, and then Wednesday Season 2. And I also want to throw on there the Minecraft movie because that's like the most quiet $1 billion movie ever. Like no one I know saw it, and yet it made $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I know there's like that whole online thing of the chicken jockey stuff, but I completely forget that the Minecraft movie was this year.
So I have to go off of the spirit of this, which is That Was This Year. And looking at this list, I think I have to do the Minecraft movie because when you told me that, I would have pegged it like September, October of last year.
The only reason I remember it was this year was because we did the Blockbuster draft, and I just remember being like, Alex, Justin, take Minecraft so I can get something else that you guys want, please. And none of us went, no. And I even went, all right, fine, I'm going to do 28 years later because I don't want to take the fucking Minecraft movie. Biggest mistake of my year, apparently. Even so, I probably would have said it'll do 400 million. Like, I don't think I had no idea it would break $1 billion and be the 3rd highest grossing movie of the year.
That I got to remember, if something seems dumb and memeable, I should take it in a draft.
Yeah, I got to go Minecraft as well, just because, again, like I remember us doing it in the Blockbuster draft, but like you said, I could very easily be persuaded that this was September, October last year, or even February of 2024, 2023. So the next one, this one is going to be very fun. This is our biggest disappointment of 2025. We have the nominees being Instagram for canceling our Talking Smack account, all because I took away my birthday. We have The Naked Gun, Star Trek Section 31, Jurassic World Rebirth's box office.
Oh my God.
Tron Ares, Thunderbolts / New Avengers box office, 28 years later box office, Wicked for Good, and just the MCU in general.
The Naked Gun hurt me because it didn't actually really get good until the last 10 minutes where it leaned into the insanity of what parody should be. Jurassic World Rebirth, I knew it would make money, and it did. It's just disappointing it continues to make so much. The problem I have is that Tron, Ares, Thunderbolts, and the MCU all hurt my box office this year. But the one I have to go with the MCU because Brave New World, or was it
Captain America: Brave New World? Yeah,
they revealed so much in trailers, and then it was just a nothing. The Thunderbolts should not have been an MCU movie, but was an MCU movie. The piecemeal Doomsday trailers, and I'm sorry, now that I've seen it in HD, non 3D, what is wrong with Steve's face? Why does Steve look like he's been given the Princess Leia Rogue One gloss treatment of melty wax? I know it's been 7 or 8 years. I know Chris Evans is now in his mid 40s.
He hasn't aged that much.
Why are they giving him the Legolas treatment from The Hobbit? Like, what is he doing? I'm going with the MCU.
I don't think I can do the MCU just because the Fantastic Four was really good, or at least it was enjoyable.
I will say this about the MCU to hope. One, I forgot the Fantastic Four was this year. That was this year. Disney has quietly admitted that the Fantastic Four had the lowest first week audience watch of any MCU movie released on Disney Plus.
If only they had a viable marketing opportunity to do April 4th, 2024 or anything like that, which like April 4th was a Friday this year, but they decided to make it a July release because reasons, which like, I guess Minecraft would have destroyed it at the box office because that was an April release as well.
Damn chicken jockey.
I don't think I can do the MCU because, again, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four were at least above average MCU entries. I still don't hate Captain America: Brave New World. It's wildly inconsistent, but it's still fun at the end of the day. I think my biggest disappointment actually has to be Wicked for Good.
What?
There's something missing in the performances, or at least in the editing room, because it really feels like they're just rushing through the songs to get to the next extended scene before they have to do another song. I realized this talking with Ricky the other day that the first movie, they really went heavy on, hey, we sung these songs live. Everything you're hearing is live. Like maybe we touched up little things here and there in the editing bay or in the booth, but everything is done live. In this one, you can't tell that they did everything live because of how edited every song sequence is. The only song that's really still and holds your attention on the performance is There's No Place Like Home, which is just Cynthia Erivo sitting around with a bunch of CGI animals. And she's literally just sitting in a hole trying to convince them not to leave Oz. Every other performance is just edited to hell. And it doesn't let the performance linger because we have to get to the next shot to show how glamorous and expensive this movie is. And we talked about it with Justin. The second half of Wicked doesn't have the bangers, which is why you need to emphasize the emotion of the songs that are being sung, because you have As Long As You're Mine. It's the only moment of happiness Elphaba ever really has in this movie or in this story. You have For Good, which is the emotional punctuation of the entire thesis of the movie. Going back and like listening to the album and looking at highlights that have been posted on social media, everything is all about like the editing and like, look at the set, look at the costuming. It's not about look at the performance. And I think that's where this movie really lost it for me, is because they banked so hard on these live performances that were captured and the live recordings in the first one. And then in this one, they could not have given two shits because they knew that the songs were not as peppy as Defying Gravity and Popular and What Is This Feeling. They didn't let the emotion linger. And I'm really disappointed in the final product that they put out for Wicked for Good, just because it doesn't resonate the way even the stage show does. Like the stage show is a breakneck pace from the second act onward. Like it's just, let's get to the next song. But those songs are what you're focusing on. Whereas this one, they're just focusing on getting to the next scene so they can expand more scenery. And so for me, it's Wicked for Good. That's the biggest disappointment of 2026 for me. The MCU can't disappoint me more than it already has in the last 5 years. So like, it's just piling on.
And if Ariana Grande would like to tell us her mailing address, we will send you an award. Kevin Feige, we already know your mailing address. You've gotten numerous awards from us.
I mean, if there's a silver lining for Wicked for Good, I do think Ariana Grande should be a frontrunner for Best Supporting Actress in the Oscars. Like, I think her performance is fantastic. Listening back to the soundtrack and the heartbreak that she puts into Thank Goodness. I think The Girl in the Bubble is a ridiculously stupid song, but Ariana Grande sells it wonderfully. But her performance in Thank Goodness alone, I think, is like Oscar worthy. And I don't think For Good resonates as well as it should. But I think Ariana Grande brings even more emotion into the role than she did in the previous film. And so, like, I hope she gets something out of it. I think Cynthia Erivo deserves a nomination as well, again, because you have this two-parter process. They're filming back to back. I think she at least deserves the nomination. I don't think she deserves the win because I don't think her performance was nuanced enough in this one as well. But I wouldn't be disappointed if Ariana Grande won supporting actress, and I wouldn't be surprised either.
Makes sense.
All right, our final category before we call it a year in 2025 and head into 2026. We have our favorite Talking Smack episode. We have our Gary H. Lee K-pop Demon Hunters episode, which is episode 209. We have our episode 200 celebration, Talking SmackDown's Volume 6, featuring He-Man Star Fox. We have our WrestleMania 41 primer with He-Man Star Fox, episode 195. We have our Kelly Fitzpatrick interview, episode 188. A very fun episode of where you, me, and Matt review section 31 in episode 185. Yeah. We have Mass Effect 2 celebrating 15 years with the lovely Dan from Casting Views and Gaming Views. This might be my front runner. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie commentary, episode 213. That was one that we just went a little different. And I think it turned out really well, and it's a lot of fun. Obviously, I love Power Rangers, as has been mentioned many times. But it was just something different that we did, and I think it turned out really well. And then we have our new friends over at That's Not How It Went Down. That's Not How It Went Down interview, episode 222 with Lewis and Elliot. And then also a new friend of the podcast, Steven over at Nerd Ranks, episode 228. As mentioned, I think my vote is the movie commentary. I think that's something different from what we normally do. And I think it was a lot of fun. Otherwise, I got to give it to, if I'm splitting hairs, episode 200 is also a lot of fun. And again, we did something different with doing it on location at Cataclysm Games in Loves Park or McChesney Park.
I have to go with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers one because I hadn't seen that movie in 20, maybe 30 plus years. I had never seen it fully because, my mom was, didn't let me. Very religious household. And it was just so fun to discover that your joy and how this is actually really good. And then we're both surprised by just how badly that left turn of that final battle takes it. How horrible it is.
Yeah, I remember that forest fight when they get their ninjetti powers. I remember that being really bad, but it's all practical with a few little good CGI moments here and there, but the wire work is on point. It's surprisingly really good up until the big CGI fight at the end. And that's really disappointing as well.
Yeah, the suits were great. The interactions with everyone was great. Character growth moments. I mean, you still have the weirdness of them going to a different planet briefly to meet a very lovely woman, but it's so fun. It's a joyous celebration of was it the first 2 seasons or 3 seasons? Yeah,
the first 2 seasons.
And you know what this means? That we should do another live commentary of a different show. Maybe we've been threatening for years, Three Amigos, but I think we should watch a few episodes of Power Rangers RPM so we can praise Rose McIver more.
I mean, I've been putting it in our Discord, but I've been watching the Super Sentai series on YouTube. There's a YouTube channel called Tokushoutsu where they just stream all the seasons of the Super Sentai series. And I've been watching Gosei Sentai Dai Ranger, which is the season after Zayu Ranger, which is what Mighty Morphin is based off of. Dai Ranger is kind of an in-between on Mighty Morphin where they have like the Thunder Zords, which that Red Dragon Zord is my favorite of all time. Like I love that sword. And looking at like the expanded puppetry that they do for that thing, it is gorgeous. And I love that. I really wish that we had gotten more of it because like the way they move it and the design of it is just the amount of money they put into the design of those things, the Zords, whatever you want to call them. They call them like Guardian Beasts in the Super Sentai. How they stretched their pennies or yen, I guess, since it's a Japanese show, to really make these things look as good as possible given their budget is just amazing to me. And I think that's where a big part of my appreciation comes from is the fact that they were probably given like, here's $5 American, go make a show. And they made that $5 work to the best of their ability. And like, yeah, it's campy, it's hokey, it's the 1970s, 80s Godzilla stuff. But the design is there, the aesthetic is there. And that's one of the things we were talking about in our Power Rangers commentary, where you had asked me about like the 2017 film. And we also talked about it with Lewis and Elliot in the That's Not How It Went Down episode, where the biggest flaw of the 2017 film is they removed all of the iconography of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers brand because they wanted to update it into something new. And like the Zords just look like weird clumps of CGI nonsense. I think the body of the suits look great, but the helmets are unrecognizable. No one's going to know what the hell that is. And so I think that's the biggest flaw of that film, at least, is that the iconography just isn't there. And they remove a little bit of the fun factor as well. But I don't think it's a bad interpretation. It's missing something. I think a big part of it is just the recognizability of the Power Rangers stuff.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. That was the fault of the 2017 one. I mean, I still had fun. And I'm kind of sad we didn't get to explore more movies with that cast because overall, I think the cast was solid. Especially when you have Elizabeth Banks, chewing every moment of screen while
she was just in a different movie, though. Like that was the other part of it. Is she was like, "Oh, I'm doing Power Rangers, so I get to be campy, fun, yeah," and everyone else is just like deadly serious.
Yeah, it's a shame. I am tentatively excited to see what they do once they finish recalibrating for like the 20th time and bring back what they're going to do now.
Well, I mean, given Paramount, I think Paramount is the company that owns Power Rangers right now. Hasbro owns them, but Paramount owns Hasbro. So like, I wouldn't be shocked if they just continue to mine it for nostalgia and they don't actually produce anything of substance. Although I've seen a lot of people mock up some really good animated stuff, and I would love to see a proper animated Power Rangers reboot that's like inspired by the Kyle Higgins, Ryan Parrott run. That would all be really great too.
Oh, this is fascinating. Apparently right now what's happening is that the new Power Rangers show series is going to be on Disney Plus.
The Disney era of Power Rangers wasn't great, so that doesn't fill me with a lot of joy.
But you know which era was? The Power Rangers RPM era with Marvel's MacGyver.
I will add it to the list of things I will watch in 2026, Alex. I promise.
Awesome. And what should you be watching? Our Discord channel. That's right.
Nice segue. I'm usually the one that has to do that. That's a good one.
You can join our Discord at tsmacpod@gmail.com, or you can just click the link below. It's where, as Josh teased, we have discussions about watch-alongs and other things that we're doing, and just our general news about what is happening with movies, TVs, animation, and comics. Yeah, come join our Discord.
You can click the link in the episode description below, or as Alex said, if you're already on Discord, you can find us there. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you are listening on Spotify or YouTube, you can leave comments. So don't forget to comment on what your favorite things of 2025 were. You can even categorize them if you'd like. If you agree with anything we said, or if you disagree with anything we said, again, please comment. The engagement is appreciated. You can email us at tsmacpod@gmail.com. Oh, also, if you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe as well as that like button because, hey, you're already here. Why not hit that subscribe button? You can find us on all social media platforms being Blue Sky, Facebook, and YouTube at Talking Smack Pod. Again, email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments, concerns, reviews, whatever you want to talk about. Email us there. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes that you're hearing right now. Beppo for our original avatars, Retro Ale Studios for our Ricky avatar. Please like, subscribe, rate, review on your podcatcher of choice. Thank you for listening so much in this year, 2025. It has been a bitch of a year, but we got through it somehow. Hopefully 2026 can be better. I don't know that I have a whole lot of hope for it, but there's always room for hope. So please join us in being hopeful, and we'll keep coming back week to week to celebrate whatever's going on in pop culture every week. Thank you again for listening throughout the year. Thank you for listening in the future. Alex, there's a TV show out there that people should be watching about a hopeful future. What is that TV show?
Watch Star Trek.
Who loves T-Smack?
I love T-Smack. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do. Ooh.